Cutting for Grit Realty as the background for that. Oh, yes, recognizing our members. But it's been 6 years since I worked here. And I was talking to Craig Slater, and Craig's not here today, and he was like, Jim, you worked here before. Doing a State of the Chamber should be pretty easy, since you obviously worked at the Chamber before. And I told Craig, it's been so long that the last time, we've had 3 different presidents of the United States since I worked here at the Chamber. President Obama was still in office. that's a long time. So it's a little bit difficult to do. Where are we going? What do we do if it's been 6 years since I worked here? So I was like, what's taken place over the last year? What can I talk about that a group of 100, I think we had 152 people register for this luncheon, would like to hear about and give some information. So it's like, COVID has impacted us over the last year. We've had Zoom. We could talk about Zoom best practices. But I thought, and it's the thing, how Zoom impacted businesses and the use of the Hamilton musical background as your Zoom background. I thought about that as a presentation. We could talk about Zoom and go that route. But we got to be trippy here at the Chamber. And Hamilton, it came out last year, June, on Disney Plus. We're a year later. We all know our favorite Hamilton songs. Mine gets Quiet Uptown. The second act is probably my favorite. We're not going to go into too much detail about that. So I was like, that probably wouldn't be the best presentation for people on day 4. So I got to thinking, I was like, we could talk about what's taking place with COVID a little bit. PPP. We could talk about the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. But Brandon Dansby, I see you over there. We're not even giving out money anymore for these programs. So that really wouldn't be relevant to be talking about as much with the PPP. But again, I used to work here at one point. And PPP sounds a little bit different to me. Cheryl's not here today, but I remember when PPP stood for Pearland Purchase Power, and we could talk about shopping Pearland and the benefits of why you should shop with our local businesses. Mona's not here. I was hoping Mona used to tell the staff that 60% of every local dollar goes back into our local economy. So we could talk about that, but 40 minutes of me talking about shopping local, about where I get my favorite tacos, where I like to get a cup of coffee, where I go get pizza, I thought that might be a little bit long-winded, so I said, no, we won't talk about that. But then I got to thinking, PPP stands a little bit different to me. It actually has a little bit different context. PPP for me stands for pears, pines, and poppies. And you're like, what does that mean? So pear, we are in Pearland. Pines, I spent time in Lufkin, Texas, the piney woods of Texas. And you might not know, Georgetown, Texas is the poppy capital of the state of Texas as well. So I thought we could talk about PPP. I know, I got some laughs. Okay, that one worked out a lot. PPP, pears, pines, and poppies. But I'm in Pearland now. I don't really want to spend a whole presentation talking about my time in Lufkin, in Georgetown, Texas, and my bio's in there as well. But I said, hey, I did work in Lufkin. I was with the Lufkin-Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. By far the longest name of any company. It didn't even have that / in there, so it threw you off when you're trying to get the legal name of everything. It's a couple pictures of it. Again, a ribbon cutting photo. We did ribbon cuttings in Lufkin. We also went to the state capitol in Lufkin. Great pictures right there. And if you didn't know where Lufkin was, how many people knew where Lufkin was? Just a show. Good, yeah, we did our job. I'm like ready. There's a picture right there, a state of Texas, with Lufkin's 2 hours northeast of here, up Highway 59. So I was there from 2015 to 2018. And then I left and went to Georgetown, Texas. Georgetown, Texas is about 30 minutes north of Austin, currently the 7th fastest growing city in the United States. At one point it was the fastest growing city in the United States. And guess what? I did a picture of my time in Georgetown as well. And guess what? I chose a ribbon cutting photo again. And you're like, Jim, it's a ribbon. I will pause and say, for all the members in the room, if you are looking for growth and visibility, go to a ribbon cutting. Because every single one of you, when you have your own ribbon cutting, the decision makers and the owners of those companies are at those events. So if you wanted any tip today and you're looking for networking and growth and getting a foot in the door, attend a ribbon cutting. They're not exclusive to our ambassadors. Even though our ambassadors make a commitment to be at all those events, I'm going to pause and say, go to a ribbon cutting, because if we were doing one for Best Coupon Magazine, and you're going to meet Dana and John Hudley at that event, because they're going to be at the ribbon cutting. So go to a ribbon cutting. A nice little picture. I knew we were having Pearland ISD and Dr. Kelly be here, and this is a picture of some high school students that were getting a CTE scholarship. There we gave out $1,000 to students that were pursuing CTE. Love this picture. It's hard to see. I knew I couldn't use a lot of different photos because we had one screen, but I'm gonna just give you some more information about this one photo, and I promise I'll move on. You'll see that there's a Zoom background, right? You can see that. That was at a board meeting. And we used to do hybrid meetings, and we would make the board members that decided not to show up be in the photo. You know, because when you're on Zoom, you block it, and we make them show themselves and smile into the photo because that would take place. So a little bit about my time in Georgetown, and guess what? Now I'm in Pearland again. Matt, is it, so there's another picture of the state of Texas with a city really big blown on it. You saw I did that for Lufkin and for Georgetown. I got those all from the Economic Development Corporation, so I assume it's part of like the standard. You have, if you're in Texas and you're in economic development, you have to have your big picture of the state and then grab your city and make it really bigger than everything else. So if you didn't know where Pearland was, now you know. So you're in Pearland, Texas today. I have 2 photos on here. No pictures of ribbon cuttings this time, because I have to shamelessly plug my family. And the top picture, that might be hard, is actually my very last day at the Pearland Chamber in June of 2015. That is my wife, and that is my son, William. My wife, Jasmine. I should say her name too. My wife, if you go down to the most recent photo, hasn't aged a bit. I was talking to some people, and I looked at this picture, somebody said, Jim, you haven't aged. No, look at the pictures. It's clear that I have. My son has grown up. It's great to be back. We have a wonderful mission of serve business, promote growth. It's very simple, 4 words. All of you guys are part of what we do to serve and help you grow. So we don't want to spend too much time on pears, pines, and poppies. So what are we going to fill the next, look at my watch, 20 minutes or so on that end. I thought, it'd be nice if we could set this up kind of as an interview style format, where all of y'all get to know me, ask questions, but if I don't prepare that in advance and don't give you guys questions, what type of format are we going to have for this? So the first one I thought about is Between Two Ferns. Anybody ever watch Between Two Ferns? Yeah, there's a couple. It's very sarcastic. That's not the format I want for my first event, Between Two Ferns. And there's quite a few people that are like, I've never heard of Between Two Ferns. So that's okay. We didn't want to use that format for my first presentation. And we sure didn't want to use Jerry Springer. I didn't want people screaming at me from the audience and throwing chairs at me and somebody coming around the corner saying, ha ha, I'm your long lost son. We didn't want that format for my first event. So I needed to choose something that would please as many of you guys and go for that. So we're going to go really simple today. We have a Jimmy Fallon backdrop, the Tonight Show, all those shows that you think, but I do need somebody that would come up here and be prepared with questions. Is anybody prepared to do that? Just one person, maybe? Sasha, your chair elect, can you help me out with this? Can you come up here and help people get to know me with some questions and stuff? Sasha, would you be comfortable doing that?
Put me on the spot. Oh wait, I have questions.
Wonderful, Sasha. Let's slide over here, and we'll treat this as a chance to get to know each other. And we'll leave the backdrop.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So I have my cards with questions. It says questions for Jim Johnston, new president and CEO. All right. So I wanted to do this in 4 sequences. First, we'll do some business questions.
Okay.
Second, some personal questions. Then we'll do some speed questions. You guys like speed questions?
Sure.
Yeah? All right.
I don't think they have a choice, but yeah, we're going to get speed questions.
And then something fun.
Okay.
Maybe
Perfect.
some audience questions.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, first questions. How did you get into the industry?
Good question. So I started with the Pearland Chamber in 2011. To be perfectly honest, I was more interested in the tourism side of the chamber. At the time, They had a direct role with the CVB, and that was where my passion was. I worked in hotels before that. So I actually came to the chamber thinking someday I would work in the tourism industry. But instead of talking to visitors about where to go, where to eat, what restaurants, what attractions, I was attracted by many of you guys. It actually was more entertaining and more enjoyable to talk to people about where their business could go for growth, where they could go to find new customers, where they should be branding, where they should be marketing, what can we do to help them. So I got in the industry that way, worked with this chamber, and as I mentioned just a second ago, Sasha, had some great time in some other communities as the president and CEO.
Love it. So after 10 years of being in the industry, what have you seen change?
You know, I think you see this entire industry is evolving. I think 10 years ago when I first got into it, the chamber's big social media push was a Facebook page with about 700 people liking the page. That was our way into it. Over time, we are involved into where this is being recorded, the being placed on Zoom later, and I mean not on Zoom, on YouTube later, so we can have a video library. But more importantly, what we've seen in changes is we need to be a resource for businesses. COVID and the shutdown decided that people need reliable information. And where are they going to look for that reliable information? And as an organization that represents hundreds of businesses, we need to be seen as a resource so that the businesses come. So we have changed from, we are still going to do great with networking and events, but we continue to be an ongoing resource and tap into that social media.
Love it, love that. All right, so what brought you back to Pearland?
You did, Sasha. No, actually, as I mentioned, I grew up in.
Paid him to say that.
I grew up in Alvin, Texas. I told him I am a Dolphin. I have 6 credit hours from Alvin Community College, so I am an alumnus of ACC, English 1 and English 2. But I grew up in Alvin, and you know, as much as we were excited to pursue career opportunities and spend a couple of years in East Texas, and then to live in Georgetown, Texas, with the most beautiful town square, this is home for us. And we have grandparents in the area, that's the short area. But just because families in the area, they come here and be a part of an organization that can draw you guys out, that has relationships, was the icing on the cake. Be with family and also be a part of an organization that is at a transition period. And to be a part of that transition and change and lead this organization for the next 19, 20, 30 years and see where we can go attracted me back to Pearland, Texas. Well, though I grew up in Alvin, Pearland is home.
It's close.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we're all glad that you're back.
Thank you.
So people have their own ideas of what the chamber is, right? So what is yours, and how would you describe that?
Yeah, I challenge with this all the time. What is a chamber of commerce? You know, you go back hundreds of years and why we were formed. We were formed in France because ship merchants needed to dredge a channel to make it deeper. Deeper channels mean bigger boats mean more commerce and trade. That's why we were established. It wasn't established for parades and pageants. It was to be a conveyor and a catalyst for growth. So, you know, I just start off with that story to say, why do we exist, Sasha? We exist to help business. That's the most simple thing we do. In the world that we complicate things with fancy messages, innovation, and pivoting, we exist to help business. But where the challenge with that is, Sasha, is helping business. There's different needs that everybody has. What one business needs is different than another. And so we have to be able to recognize it. Our mission might change. Our programs will change. But why we exist is to help business. And simply put, that's why we're around.
Love it, love it. So with that said, though, some people say you get what you put into it. This is used to describe the chamber. Is it true?
Yes and no. I think that's an interesting question. You know, and I think that comes back to why have all of y'all decided to join the chamber. There's engineers in the room that are looking for connections with their local municipalities. There are people that are in direct agent that are looking for business to business sales or business to consumer sell. So everybody has a different thing. But I think for those who are looking and their expectations are to network and grow, they're going to need to be active because that is how you find visibility and credibility, which ultimately leads to growth. So I think for those that are looking for that, absolutely, active participation is going to be key. But for some people, that's not what they're looking for. And if we're not careful on how we manage those expectations, we're not going to set our members up for the right way.
I like that. Well, and then some businesses might say, hey, I didn't get anything out of the chamber. How would you respond to that?
Shame on us. To be perfectly honest, I mean, we are a professional staff. When I used to say I'm the vice president of membership development here, I say I'm the president and CEO. Occasionally people say, well, what do you do for your real job? No, my job as a paid staff member and the rest of the team here is to manage expectations for people who are choosing to invest. We're not the like company. You are choosing to be an investor in the organization. And if we recognize that and we say, hey, you're choosing to invest, our new members, why did you choose? And do we have a program that fits you? And if we don't, maybe it's not a good fit. Our board and our strategic vision will look at that and say, hey, that is a new need. If we are evolving, if we're looking at the needs. We used to not do First Fridays. You run that program. There was a need for members to network and provide visibility to an electronic market. We needed to do that. So shame on us for not managing expectations the right way.
So you talked about vision. So what is your vision for the chamber?
Oh, that's a good question. I think we have to recognize the diversity of our members, the different stages of our members, and then look at our programs and make sure that we actually have programs that fit those. We have to recognize that one program fits really good for a realty company, but it might not fit for another company, and that's perfectly fine. We just have to be there for our members. We are a membership organization. We are a volunteer. And you guys, if you look at an org chart, as much as I'm the president and I have a board and I have Ann as the board chair, and 99% we're going to put the members at the top level. You guys drive our programs. You drive what we need to do. And we have to listen to that. I hate to say it, you're going to get surveyed from us. Within the next couple of days, you're going to get a survey about this luncheon today. From everything from, did it meet your expectations? How was the food? How was registration? And your overall satisfaction with the chamber. Those things will help us drive. And you're going to say, Jim, I get lots of surveys. Fill them out. We want to hear your feedback ongoing because we want to be better for you guys. We are a good, great chamber, but we want to continue to be known as the best one in this area.
So I like the excitement in your voice. So tell us what you love about the chamber.
You know, I love one thing. I love that we help business. And it's very simple what we do. But the part of that I love is how complex that can get. It's when you're simply helping businesses, the complexity of the day. And I see Donna Rizzo with Hometown Bank, and I use this as an example. She's like, oh no, Jim. And I think about a time when we were here, and there was electronic signage. They built a brand new bank with signage, and they wanted to use more colors and to be a little bit faster. What they needed to help wasn't as simple as calling the city up and saying, change the ordinance. It was a process with meeting with council, meeting with community development, to work with them, to show them what a change in that signage might actually be and how it can benefit our businesses. So sometimes it's really simple to help business. It might be as simple as, I need a good insurance agent. I need to know where I can advertise, what nonprofits I can support. Those are the easy ones to help. But those complexities, when you get into those very thorough, very detailed area, and then you see the success, and I drive by, and I still see the pretty colors, and I still see it changing every 2 seconds, I think it can now. It's great. And we're thankful. So I use that as where the enjoyment of my job, because what we do is the same for each business. We're going to help them, but it can be very complex, Sasha.
We're up to 4 colors now.
Yeah.
So, but what is it that you love about what you do, your job?
Oh, you know, I get to visit with people every single day. All of you guys have passion. I got into this thinking I was going to talk to visitors about why they were in Pearland and what Mexican food restaurant they should go eat at. And it was more fun to talk to people like Mike Orlando when he was, coming through and talking to him about where he could go to sell energy. It was more fun to talk to people about why the signs were different in different communities, why it was changed. That's what I enjoy. And I will say, Sasha, everybody says they have an open door policy. I will truly continue, guys, to get your feedback. You can come by and visit our office. We are the Commerce Center. That name was specifically chosen because we are the home of commerce and trade, and we want you guys to feel comfortable to come talk to us, provide your feedback, share your vision, because the more people we can grow, the better it is.
Great. On your presentation earlier, when you had your slide up there, you talked about COVID-19.
Oh, yeah.
And it impacted a lot of businesses and members. So how did the chamber industry come out on all of it?
You know, it's unfortunate that you see in places that aren't as business friendly, the west coast of the United States, where business chambers are actually closing their doors, or they're consolidating with everybody. Because if we were just focused on providing networking, if that's all we did, if we were parades, pageants, and parties, we couldn't have done those things during COVID. We couldn't have brought you together for face-to-face networking in some areas. But by being a resource and being that, the chambers that are striving, that are continuing to maintain their members, are bringing 150 plus people out to see a presentation, are the ones that recognize that is a part of what they do, but it's not everything we do. And that's, I think, what you're seeing. I think in Texas, we're not seeing them close, but there's those who are struggling. And I'm glad that I wouldn't have come here if people like you on the board, Carol and the staff, hadn't done a good job to maintain this organization, to get through that area and still be in a good place today.
So we know that the Pearland Chamber is the best chamber.
It is.
Now, I want you, since you've been around a little bit, tell us, how does it compare to others? And don't lie.
Great. 3 weeks ago, I probably would have been having to say that the other chamber was the best chamber in the United States. And that would have been not lying then. No, I think Pearland Chamber is a great organization. How does it compare to others? I would say this chamber has a very wonderful committee structure and programs. If you have a passion, whether it's entrepreneurship or healthcare, there is an opportunity for you to get involved in the organization. I would love to see us grow members, and how we do that is we can cold call them, but you guys all know businesses as well. If you see something that you like, invite them out, try it out. It's an excellent opportunity for us to engage. And I think, Sasha, we have a great board of directors, and I'm not just saying that because you're next to you, but you have a board that comes out, that participates, that understands their role as strategic vision and guidance for that. And if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be known as one of the best chambers in the area.
It's true. So sometimes the board or just the chamber itself, we describe the chamber as a battleship or a cruise ship. How do you summarize that?
Oh yeah, it's in our literature for that. You know, at times we're a battleship. We're leading an organization into battle for business, and sometimes we're a cruise ship. We're having fun. Party on the Patio is next Wednesday. That is a fun event. That's your cruise ship style, and I think we can do both. But I'm gonna be one of those people that chooses an answer that you didn't give me. I think we're like a tugboat, Sasha. I think at the same time, we are a small force that can move some of the largest vessels, help you navigate those difficult situations, help you move to the right area, and then go back and you didn't even recognize that we were there. And we need to be a part of your business and help you move that direction. We can still have fun, we can still go into battle, but we know our role as a voice of business here in Pearland.
I love that answer. All right, we're going to move into personal stuff.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Just change it up a little bit?
Sure.
All right. You did this already a little bit, but tell us something that you haven't told us about yourself yet.
Oh, I had an answer, and I don't know if I want to go that route. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm looking for players for a slow pitch softball team. I'm looking at you, Trent Perez. I know you love baseball, so you can come join slow pitch softball. I enjoy that, but really, I'm a Bourbon fan and slow pitch softball. I'll say that today. There we go.
So you told us you grew up in Alvin, Texas.
Yes,
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I grew up in Alvin. I grew up in actually a very small part of Alvin, a small little village called Hillcrest Village. I am a graduate of Alvin High School before it had other high schools. The graduating class was nearly 600 people, and now Alvin ISD is just a little bit bigger than it was when I graduated. Board Trustee Chair Bel Sanchez I was honored to have her do the invocation because she is a close family friend of mine and grew up literally 2 streets over from her. Grew up in Alvin, parents still live in that area, and that's the reason we came back here, is we are in Pearland, get to be in wonderful school district here, but also get to be about 15 minutes from all sets of grandparents, which is great for a 9-year-old boy.
There you go. Well, which segues. Tell us about wife and kids a little bit more.
Oh, wife is amazing. I think, aren't you, as all the husbands in here, we can't say anything else other than my wife. It makes
Our wife is amazing.
Right, wife is amazing. She's traveled with me as we went to Lufkin in Georgetown. But it was a family decision to come back to this area. She is an employee of Pearland ISD, was before, and is glad to be back in the district, and my son will attend 4th grade here in Pearland at Shady Crest Elementary, so we're just excited to be back in Pearland ISD.
So another personal questions. Do you read books? And if so, what would you recommend?
Man, I'm reading, I wish I knew the name of it. I do read, I know how. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you, Alvin ISD. I can read. That's a great question. My business favorite book is The Slight Edge. I think that by Jeff Olson. It's a great book about compounding results, how the little things you do in life. I always say you don't get overweight by eating McDonald's once, but if you eat it every single day, you're going to gain weight. If you want to do certain things that you do a little bit every day in the positive way, let's say, but I'm reading one really good. It's like The Comfort Crisis, I think. It's all about we are way too comfortable as a society. AC, everything, we're not, we haven't always had these luxuries that we've had. Really good book. If you want the name of it, I'll give it to you afterwards. It just came out a couple months ago. So.
All right, cool. So next we're going to go into the speed questions, and then I will go into the audience. So get your questions ready.
Oh, yay.
Okay, ready?
Thanks, Sasha. Okay.
So, favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip, Bluebell.
Summer or winter?
Winter, if it's really winter, like cold, like Gulf Coast winter, no. Give me like real winter, but.
Favorite drink?
Water? Coffee? Or bourbon. We'll just go with those. You gotta have 3, but black coffee is probably the. If I had to choose one, I'll go black coffee today, Sasha.
All right, that's an easy one. When are you the most productive?
Morning.
Morning?
Yeah, I like the morning. I'm a morning person.
You wake up early?
Early-ish.
Yes.
The definition of early can be tricky. The sun is coming. It's still down. I think I'll say that.
All right. Favorite number and why?
I didn't know we were going to ask that question. I usually say 13, and I don't know why. I just say 13 for today.
For luck.
I'm not supposed to, what am I supposed to say, 5 and 18, because that's my anniversary with my wife. And if she watches the recording later, yes, 5 and 18. We'll go with that.
All right, cats or dogs?
Dogs. We have a puppy Pomeranian. Yeah, that. Oh yeah, no, yeah. It's for sale. I'll say that. the family's out of town right now, so it is for sale.
Get it while it's hot.
Yes.
All right.
House broken. I promise.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Pearland, Texas.
Oh, there you go. And I think I know somebody, Danielle. If you need a new dog. There you go. All right, so I am going to ask a fun question, and then we're going to go into the audience.
Oh, sure.
All right, so I was trying to figure out what would be a fun question, and I was looking on the internet, and Google does these really weird questions when they interview people that they're hiring, right? So I start Googling some of these weird questions, and here's one. How would you calculate how many tennis balls would fill out a school bus?
Tennis balls and
Yes. How would you calculate how many tennis balls fills out a school bus? And I don't know why they asked that at Google.
I think you're it's supposed to be analytical thinking, and the average person is 5'10". If I look at my body,
Right.
70 tennis balls. And Dr. Kelly, how many people sit on a school bus? I don't. Does anybody know? I'm doing some math. Let's say 100. So we'll go that way. 7,242 tennis balls.
There we go. We got it. All right. So now we're going to go into the audience. Does anybody in the audience have any questions that they'd like to ask Jim? Anyone? And I'm going to plant the first one, right? Oh, look, she has a question. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Is the Pearland Chamber breaking any rules? This is really important. Any rules by having such a handsome man as the acting chairman? The chairman.
Oh, wow. That does put us in a... Dr. Juana is here, our governance person. He's not here to tell us that this violates our code of conduct policy. Sasha, I said you could ask questions. I didn't know you were going to plant a couple of questions.
I had no idea that was coming.
So,
all right. Any more audience questions for Jim? I'm looking over here. I thought maybe Trent would have them. All right, we got some back
We
here.
have a
Let's
real
start.
question. This is gonna go either really good, guys, or
Jim, this
horrible.
is easy.
Okay.
Where do you like to vacation? What's your favorite vacation spot and why?
Sunshine, yeah, I can't say, the Pearland Town Center, you know. Give me any sunshine and blue waters and I'm very happy. So that's our happy place.
All right, awesome. With lots of bourbon.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. All right, we have one more question over here.
Woodford Reserve.
All right, Eric.
All right, question.
Alright.
You seem like a very, very exciting, enthusiastic man. Question to you is, what frustrates you? What's a pet peeve of yours?
Stacey, that is a great answer. Stacey had the best answer. Crazy questions for the audience is what really frustrates me. You know, professionally, I'll answer it the best I can. Professionally, mission creep is probably what can drive me nuts. Is that we know our mission and we need to make sure we stay in our lanes. And if we don't have the opportunity to partner with people that are looking to do what we do, we've been around since 1963 here in Pearland. We have been the association. We are a business organization. We want to make sure that we know our role, and sometimes it's frustrating when people have the wrong assumptions of what we do and our role in the community. We'll go with that.
All right, next question is from Seth.
Oh, hello, hey, Seth.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Seth.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you enjoy softball, so I wanted to ask about your softball leadership skills and how you encourage your fellow teammates.
Oh, I heard some of this before.
Seth was on my team here. And notice I went to Trent to ask him if he could play on my softball team other than Seth Thompson. So I will say that. I enjoy that, but I was looking this way, not that way, for new players for that team. So it's me saying, Seth, maybe you need to practice more, you know, so.
All right, folks. So I think this concludes our
Thank you,
interview.
Sasha.
Let's give Jim a hand.
Thank you. Not like you didn't just hear from me for 30, 40 minutes, but I get the opportunity to do our chamber announcements as well. There are members